I mentioned obviously that the doctors are going to be going on this strike. Do you think this is going to shift voting behaviour, Rick?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, Andrew, my take on it is stop whining. If you don't like the pay as a junior doctor, find yourself another job, go and get yourself a different vocation. I can remember back in 1992 when I did my A levels, a lot of budding medical students were in my school. And when they went to get interviewed by their prospective universities to study medicine, they were always asked, why do you want to be a doctor? Why do you want to join the medical profession? And they all gave the same answer: to help people, to make a difference in society. Why didn't they all just be honest and say, it's for the money, the money, the money? Why not just be honest? Because this isn't an issue about, if they're all in it to help people, well, then the money should just be a secondary thing. And of course, let's look at the long game here, because they play the violin and say, well, as a junior doctor, I'm working really long hours and it's really tough and it's really stressful. Yeah, that's a stepping stone to get to be a GP, or a stepping stone to get to be a consultant. And then you're riding the pigs back all the way into retirement. I have never seen a poor and a destitute doctor, or barrister for that matter, and maybe you could attest to that one too, despite all the hours worked and the stress. No, it's very, very cushy number. Thank you very much. Unless you want to contradict me on that.
You make a very interesting point, and I do think they are vocational. I disagree with you. I do think that a lot of people go into it for the vocational reason. It's not the main thing about the pay and the stress, but also just on barristers, on criminal barristers' side. My area of expertise is intellectual property, so it's different. But the idea, criminal barristers, they went on strike themselves because they said crime doesn't pay, and they did all this they sort of unpacked that when they were looking for their pay rise, and basically turning around and saying, look, we spend so many hours researching it, we may not get the money till much later, and so on and so forth. So from a barrister's point of view, there are lots of poor barristers, and whilst people in the profession have been very successful, and those are always the one that you see sipping their Cristal champagne and eating lark's tongue in aspic, there are those who are it's better, they say, to be a barrister making coffee for somebody, a barista, rather than a barrister. So work on that sort of basis. It is interesting, though, and we need to do, what I like about this show is that we do unpack these things. We shine a spotlight and work on that sort of basis. More lights, less heat about pay conditions and things like that. But it's not just about the money. The medical profession is creaking at the seams, and the reason it's creaking is the tremendous pressure there is to deliver, whilst they're not getting the right sort of funds as well.
Tracking global corruption and threats that undermine our security. This is the Muckrakers on today's News Talk TNT.